Yo, troops. All right, here we go. So this is going to be my dynamic pre-race tap recovery. Long title. So remember that tap is tapered athletic performance, but this is the recovery version. So everything without the ball you can use pre-race as a dynamic warm-up. Check it out. So we'll start off with a traditional one-lap warm-up, about 100 meters I think you guys are going. And then we'll go into a butt kick with a hip extension focus, and then a tapioca, same way with a hip extension and a core, how do I want to say this, with the oblique rotation on that tapioca. So the focus will be oblique rotation plus the TFL and a dynamic hip flexion stretch. So after your lap, we have butt kicks, and traditional butt kicks, hamstring warm up. See, my knees is directly aligned bilaterally. What I want you to do is get a little lean forward and give me more hip extension right here, so I get a recruiting of the TFL hip flexor psoas muscle group. So I'm going to lean forward a little more so that my knee comes back to get that balance right there, as I try to look to see if I can actually get in the view of the camera. So I want my hip to come back. So I'm leaning forward a little bit. I'm kind of tracking. So that's the dynamic lap for that 100 meters with that. The aim is, of course, I'm going to get a recruiting of the hamstrings for warm-up, but also a dynamic flexibility, TFL, hip flexors, psoas in that group. So the next lap will be the soft tapioca. Traditional would be a counter rotation of my oblique system, the AOS system, with also extending this lateral rotation of my hip. I don't want to focus too much on the twist, more so just on a soft turn of that hip, still just so I can get dynamic. Remember, we're trying to get a dynamic warm-up of the hip flexion and the core. So as I go, I'm going to bring my heel up, but I'm not going to twist against, have that counter force going against my lower back and my sacral area. So I'll bring my heel up, but it's going to be a soft turn, just so I can still get that dynamic warm-up for my core and my hip flexor. So remember, traditional, you're trying to really rotate and get that core warmed up for that type of movement. But just for running, doing linear movements, we don't really want that, but because of trail running, you might have some kind of off-course occasion, so you want your whole body to be warmed up properly. All right, so remember that's soft. As I twist, I'm just gonna bring my heel up a little higher, but I'm gonna focus less on that rotation, but I still wanna get a soft turn of that core. So after that warm up, then we'll go to your, we'll have your ball, and we'll have a standing leg raise into a lunge. Standing leg raise into a lunge, which is like the Russian dynamic march. So it's like so. I want to brace my lower back, the sacral area, so I'm pushing down with some pressure here, just to keep my sacral area protected. Swinging my front leg up, and just so we work that AOS system, that front oblique system, that front sling, I want to reach with my lat here to see if I can get my heel, the heel of my hand to my toe. So I'm reaching like so, okay? So it's one reach, so we're getting 10 motions out of each dynamic movement that we do. So here's the first movement. Here to lunge back right here. And I'm gonna lean forward. So I'm not gonna go into extension with my back. I'm gonna lean forward, keeping that spine at about 45. I'm not necessarily worried about this knee tracking directly over the ankle here, because I'm looking for dynamic movement, and this is gonna mimic a run position anyway, to where you're gonna exceed that 90-degree stack over the ankle. So the focus is here. So I'm there, and I'm not really necessarily looking for speed. Leaning forward, keep it here. I'm still blocked here. Coming up, touch. so that's my movement for 10 on each side. 10 kicks with that dynamic stretch on each side. Then I'm coming down the same leg I was working. So I'm gonna get a kneel on my mat. Bring your ball in. And of course, I like to get the whole core working here with balance and whatnot. So throw your leg on top, both hands to your ball for security, for balance if you need it. And all we're gonna do is drift forward, and I can still complement the contralateral side over here for my hip flexor and TFL as well. The focus right now is going to be this hamstring particularly, and we do get a dual benefit with the opposite hip going. So I have 10 extension and drifts right here. So I'm going 10 out and then return. 10 out and then return. Pretty simple, piece of cake. So after that, of course, you're gonna do both sides bilateral, so we'll have a little bit of balance. And so after I get 10 of those, then I return back to that warm up with my little tapioca and my butt kicks with the lean. All right, so we'll return back to that after each one. So then we come to our dynamic movement again here. And what we're gonna have is a standing pigeon pose. And we're gonna go directly into a true figure 4 here. All right, so this is what it will look like. So you reach up and you'll grab your ankle and your knee, and then you'll come down into a sit, and then you'll come to a stand. And I'll return right back to that same movement, and then I'll go to the ball, and you know what? Let's do this. Let's do this. Make it a little more dynamic. So I'll stand like this. So I'll come up to that pigeon, standing pigeon hold, and I want to get a little small pull, and let's just go to a lateral lunge, real soft. Come back up, little pull, lateral lunge, real soft, real pull. And I'm not really looking for positioning here, getting specific, because I just want you there, soft, deceleration, and then get back out of there again. So I have a little bit of stretch on that adductor group, and coming up for 10 there. Just a soft pull, and then with your ball, so we got our glutes working there, and adductors on the opposite side, and swinging that leg up again. Here you go, you're gonna pull your heel to the opposite hip. Of course, we've done this before with this glute activation whenever we get a little static press into the ball. All right, so then I'm just gonna fold forward, of course, and I'm gonna come up and release, fold forward, come up and release that piriformis area right here, good. And I'm still working at, you know, this is actually a POS system because I'm working the backside sling here, counterlateral oblique area with piriformis and glute. Well, so we're doing 10 on each side right there. All right, it's that glute warm up. So I have 10 on both sides. So you go from that standing pigeon, lateral lunge, to a dynamic ball, pigeon roll out stretch for that hip flexor. So that's that group. All right, then the next one here, or the last one we'll do, and of course I'll go back to my run, my dynamic warm up with the butt kicks, tapioca. After each one, we're doing 10 on each side. So we're balanced here. All right, so the next movement we have after that run is going to be a quadricep focus, hip flexor focus. So what I'll do is I'll bring my heel up, however you can, reach back with both hands, and I'm going to kind of hook my hand into my shoe right here, squeezing my shoulder blades so that my spine is straight. Give me a little RDL motion, and I'm kind of pulling my hip up here. A little RDL motion, so I got a little hamstring recruiting here, but I want to push my foot up, activate that ankle. My foot is flat, pushing up, so I get a little dynamic stretch right on that hip flexor. Then I'm going to go into a true pigeon, sitting right here, isolated balance right there. So I have 10 of those. If I can go consecutive into that movement, that's ideal. If I get 10 of those consecutively, that's ideal. So my ball move would be this. The ball is behind you. Have the top of your foot on the ball, one same side knee on the ground. Step up with the opposite shoe. So I'm up here at this point. Drop that opposite elbow down. Right here, get a little reach. I still have a soft stretch on the tibialis, the front of my shin, and on my quad hip flexor. It's really soft here. Then I go into a more aggressive, dynamic stretch for that quad and hip flexor, and I'm coming back down. Coming up, and of course you see the limitation in my hamstrings and adductors on this side. I can't get my elbow to the floor. But that's what this homework is designed for. Improvement of flexibility and mobility. Yes. Okay, so that's my action right there. Cool, you should be warmed up, ready to go, running at top speeds, PR in the future. All right, handle it. Let me know if you got questions. Peace.